Reading to you my new novel, Lee. We left off 3/4 of the way down page 99, so I'm picking it up there. I called Bobby up the next morning and told her all about my experience. I seen her a while back. We had some work, this kind we do together. So I called her and tried to explain what happened to me, and she starts crying. Bobby, she's so emotional. She's crying, saying, "I'm not ready for you to go, not ready for you to leave." I tried explaining. "I'm just telling you what happened. I was sitting like No Smoking Guy showed me." But she interrupts. "Stop telling me. I'm just your friend. I don't want to hear no more about you dying." Bobby scared me with all her worry, like maybe it was an omen or something. I don't figure it was, but you never know. That's what I know, that you never know. I think about that. I've been thinking a lot about what happens. Where did Papa go? Where does anybody go when they die? Everybody's made up stories about it. I can see why. I want to make up a story about where my Papa went, where my first dog went. Where do things go when they die, especially the things you care about? A lot of the stories I've heard I like. I like the story where you get wings, some kind of heaven where my dog is running around in his dog happy way, and Papa, I don't know what his heaven would look like. Maybe all the drugs he ever wanted with none of the bad consequences. Or a heaven where he doesn't need drugs because he's high on heaven. Who knows? Maybe he's playing with my dog up there. I had one day this week when it was warm. The snow melted, lumps of dirt were left here and there, and I started feeling like I could look up again, that maybe the leaves would come back on the trees someday. The birds stopped singing since winter started. I never noticed that before. I don't know if they sang during other winters, or I just now noticed their silence. They were sitting on the branches, flying around, doing everything birds do, but in silence. I started putting seed out for them. I heard that if you start feeding birds, you better keep feeding them, because they come to count on it. I make sure I do it every day. I know you can count on nature, can count on winter coming, spring coming, summer and fall, and winter again. You don't know exactly when, and you don't know how you'll feel when they come, but you know you can count on them circling in one after the other. No Smoking Guy died. I knew it was coming, but I didn't see it coming. I didn't keep a good enough eye on it. He needed oxygen all the time, I knew that. Still, it was a shock. I held his hand that last night. He didn't seem like himself, was kind of agitated, talking out of his head a little. Usually he's such a calm guy. I could feel something was wrong. I left him sitting up with his oxygen on, turning kind of blue. I asked him, "You all right?" He nodded. I thought he meant yes. I don't know what he meant now looking back. I don't want to know. He kept pushing his head back against the top of the futon, like he needed to get as straight as he could, but he couldn't. The lights woke me up, red lights flashing, shining through my window earlier than I get up, earlier than the baby. I came out with the neighbors standing around. Big rescue squad pulled right on up. I watched them get out, showed them where the key was, went in right behind them. He was down on the floor. I don't know how he got down there. The cops stood around him, then one of them got on his phone. He kept the phone by his ear and explained to me how when someone dies unattended, they gotta call the coroner, get permission to take him out. I sat with No Smoking Guy and told the rescue squad I was his friend, so they let me be. I couldn't stop patting his head. It was like he was alive, except he wasn't breathing. I was waiting for him to breathe since he looks so like himself. He was in his body still, I know he was. Maybe from all that meditation he did, he knew how to stay behind for a while. His right leg sort of stuck out, bent in a sideways V, showing his bare ankle. He liked to wear tennis shoes without laces, no socks. All white was his skin. I kept wanting to cover up his ankle. It looked too naked showing like that. I asked the rescue guys if I could put a blanket on him. They said yeah, and I did. I covered him up. I wanted him to be warm and private. I was patting his head like I do my babies. Somebody must have done that for me a long time ago because it's a memory my hand knows. My hand seems to know how to comfort a guy who dies alone in the night. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right, I whispered in his ear. Thank you for being my friend and for the locket. I talked real close to his ear and real quiet. I put my hand on his chest, waiting and willing him to breathe. I guess he ran out of oxygen. Even though it was coming into his nose through that tube he wore most of the time, his body must have quit knowing how to take the oxygen in. I wonder if that's when you die, when your body quits knowing how to take life in. He wasn't that old, didn't have no wrinkles on his face. I know nothing about him, who his people were, he didn't talk about. Last time he sat with me, he gave me this bracelet. It's made out of beads, got a sort of fringe thing hanging off it. I forget what he called it. He said it's a Buddhist thing. Wear it. I do. It's made of seeds, some kind of seed beads of orangish brown. He had one like it on his wrist. I wanted to take it off of him, keep it as my own, but I didn't know if I could. I didn't want to ask, too shy, too worried they'd start asking me questions and throw me out of the room and don't let me stay with him. An hour and a half goes by, and they lower the stretcher down and pick him off the floor and put him on it, put him in a bag. I've never seen that done before. You'd think they'd find a better way than to put a person in a bag. They zipped the bag up to his neck and let me kiss his forehead, then zipped the bag up across his face, closed him in there. I watched them take him out and take him away, lights flashing, the bag full of no-smoking guy. I went back to my house and woke up the baby. He's gone. I got this big old sadness living in my belly, rising into the middle of my chest and sitting there. I'm thick with sad gray smoke. You know what? Most days I just want to die. I lost something big when No Smoking Guy died. People keep leaving now. Papa died, didn't even know him. No Smoking Guy teaches me how to sit, and now he's gone. Who's going to be next? I want to leave too. I don't care that spring's coming. I don't care that the sky is blue. I don't care about the promise of leaves. It's all a tease. Life bringing me life just to grab it away. That man Mama let live in the house when I was 5, he teased the dog, he teased me. He held out a bit of food he was eating, then pulled it away. The dog looked all confused. He'd do it again, thought it was funny. He grabbed my one toy I liked, this raggedy doll. Somebody made her. I didn't know who, made her of cloth. I used to sleep with her, take her little arm all soft and rub it under my nose. It helped me sleep. He'd make like he was going to hand her to me and then grab it away, his big belly be shaking, him laughing. I learned you don't let people know what you love because they'll snatch it away and tease you with it. Gives them power they don't got otherwise. That's what I learned. And if it isn't men taking it away, it's life. Life's just teasing you. I got me some heartache and a bitter kind of attitude. I know it. It doesn't help that I know. It's a rough, rough beginning of spring, and I'm going to miss No Smoking Guy for a long, long time. I think that's all for today. We're leaving off on page 106. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.